September that we had. So please come here. Mēs nepalaidām. Sākam vēlreiz.
Nē, viss tā, ka tas ir vienkārši tālāk. O, sākās tātad.
Dankeschön. So, let's begin. So, the title is Augmented Reality, and I am Gift Kesteris. Well, let's begin then. So, what is augmented reality, and a few more terms will follow to show what differs in this case. For example, augmented reality is you have a physical world that you like take with a camera or video, whatever, and you put physical, virtual objects on top of them. Basically, you have, here are two pictures. Perhaps everyone knows Pokemon Go, right?
What's that?
Never heard of it.
Please explain.
Whoa.
Gift style, what was that? Yes.
Yay. Okay, well, what you basically do, you open your Pokemon Go application, you like walk around like with Google, you see basically a map, and then a wild Pikachu appears, whatever. Charizard or Tombstone. There was this joke about Diglett or something.
Diglett?
Sorry?
What the hell is a Diglett?
Diglett.
Oh, Diglett. Okay.
Basically, he's a worm. He looks like a tombstone if you like apply a grayscale filter, whatever. So, what you basically do at one point, the Pokemon appears, and you have your camera on. You see the feed from camera, but you have this Pokemon added to the scene. And you can walk around and look how it stays in the very same place, and it has some idle or attacking animation, whatever. So you basically, if there would be a Pokemon, for example, there's this Puff, I'm not sure how it's called. You, with your camera, you walk around it, and it's approximately there. That's how it works.
How do you register the thing?
I'm gonna tell you later.
Oh.
And then there's the second thing where you have a paper or some other.
Okay, it died.
Did it die?
Oh,
Yeah, it works.
Russian technology.
I should copy it. So what happens there is you have cards, and the application recognizes these markers, which are, in this case, dinosaurs on top of a marker, and puts the experience on top of that. Basically, you have a static image where you put, where it recognizes it and puts it upon that. Okay, I'm going to continue with more mindfuck. So, do you know what virtual reality is? You have these headsets, like, where every environment is virtual, and you put virtual objects in virtual. Basically, it's virtual reality. You have, everything is virtual, and if you have Google's, all you see is that's basically what's displayed on your both cameras. For example, it is the first one here is Valve's Steam VR Labs bow shooting. That's a super big experience. And the second one is something to do. Do you know a guy called John Carmack? Well, who doesn't? He's a creator of such titles as Doom and whatever. basically he worked for ID Software. Currently he's working for Oculus, and this is Oculus, and he's creating some sort of game. I'm not sure how it's called, but that's Oculus. Well, that's virtual reality. More mindfuck. Mixed reality. Basically, the mixed reality term is crafted by Microsoft. Oh, perhaps that's why it contains M. Well, it's basically virtual objects on top of physical environment. It can be also virtual objects on top of virtual objects, like virtual, and also virtual objects in physical environment. Basically, you have a headset where you can use it as a VR device. You can use it as an augmented device, and you can also scan the room and visualize it. But this is not the case where I'm going to explain how it works. Here are some pictures. One notable one headset is HoloLens. Perhaps somebody has heard that. Here you can play Minecraft. For example, you scan the environment, and it basically generates planes, and you can put experiences on top of that. Here's how scanning is done. There's an application called Fragment. That's basically a game where you scan the room and then solve some sort of crimes. Also, awesome experience. And then there are Acer Microsoft mixed reality headsets, etc., etc. There are lots of them, and they are getting cheaper. But that's another topic. I'm going to continue with AR. Why is AR relevant? Well, in 2021, it's mobile IR to drive about 108 billion market, but that's for mobile devices. And also, it has a large variety of applications. You can basically put 3D information for example, there's this bike. You scan it, and it says, oh, this is this type of bike, and it costs like that. You scan your companion or friend. It gives immediate answer what's his or her name, and other kind of information. I'm gonna tell other applications later. Basically, you can augment pretty much everything you have in physical world. So, AR features. Image tracking. Well, what basically is a marker? It is some sort of picture or something other. But for example, QR code or barcode, which the augmented reality is able to recognize. This I'm going to explain it later. Basically, when it recognizes the marker, it places experience relative to the marker, and then via camera movement, it detects how you are moving and how to update where the object's transform matrix. For example, if that wouldn't be done, for example, if you had a picture right there, and you would scan it, there would be some sort of turtle or whatever other object on top of this marker. But when you move, it just flickers, or it just isn't there anymore. So in this case, you need to understand how camera moves and try to put it where it could be with relative to the marker and to the user's view. Yeah. So how image tracking looks? There's this picture which I had previously, and then there is a video which contains it. Okay. So there's a There's an Animal 4D application which you can download in Google Store, Google Play, I guess now. And it's created by Octagon Studio, and it's based on one of the most popular frameworks called Vuforia. And what you can do is you have a bunch of cards where you just use your phone and you see how an elephant looks clever, right? Okay.
What?
Yes, it's okay.
What happened?
There's no audio, I switched that off. I hope it works.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to open YouTube.
Okay, there.
You failed.
I failed.
Okay, you want to?
I'm trying to actually use YouTube link here. It doesn't just open it.
Okay.
Well, it has no reference. Yay. Nevarēšu? Okay.
Vai fullscreen nebrīdināja, tev vajadzēs video. Should I start to see that?
Yeah.
Shall I give you scan?
No. Yay. There are going to be more of those. So what you what you basically do is open an application, and you have a like giraffe, turtle, or whatever. You have a bunch of those images, and it recognizes it. Yay! It's 4D, which is what? It's not 4D. It's just for marketing purposes. For example, if you have this giraffe on top of a marker, and wait, it's gonna be more.
It's a pack of cards with 26 illustrations of animals,
Yeah.
representing each alphabet from A to Z, followed by an application.
Yes, you have a zebra.
Besides that, we have also developed the food cards to
And then there's another application here is that you can interact between them. And that's the part about that which is the closest to gaming, where the monkey goes and grabs a banana, and it doesn't eat grass in this case, but the horse does. How awesome, right?
When you place the grass card next to them.
Yay! Nom nom nom. Yes, you can make aliens and stuff that eat like humans or other stuff. It's basically what it does. It just shows that it just isn't about like putting one experience on top of a marker. Yeah, free advert. Thank you. So, I'm going to continue. Did you understand what image tracking is? You just basically track an image, and
It's like an anchor. It understands its angle respect to the camera, and so it can track
Well, yeah, sort of. I'm gonna talk about frameworks a little bit later. So, image tracking. There are three different images. First one is barcode. Have you seen that kind of thing? It is still popular, and the like AR is relevant, like in the recent year or 2 years. But before that, these were widely used. Also, QR codes, as they have a pretty, like, you have a big. Oh, I forgot the name.
QR code?
No, no. Like black and white has a big contrast. Yeah, that's the thing. You have a big contrast, and you don't have like a fades in between. You have just either 0 or 1. It's pretty easy to understand. But then there's an image which is more relevant to this case, because it can be pretty much anything, and you have to evaluate whether it works or not. So, the problem is that most of open source AR frameworks work really well, but not with these. So, another thing is motion tracking. Basically what happens is you place an experience, or app places it for you. For example, app places it for you in the middle of screen. I'm talking about screen space positions, and then adds some meters camera forward, and then it basically what you do is walk around and it sticks there. This is the case of Pokemon Go, which I displayed. This is the picture we had earlier, and there's another video. Well, yeah, but I'm not sure whether I'm gonna find it in a moment, because there are lots of like reactions to Pokemon Go application when you search it in YouTube. So, how many doesn't know what Pokemon Go is? Just raise your hands.
None. No. Doesn't know or does know? Does not.
Does not know what Pokemon Go is and how it looks. You're free. Okay. So in this case, I'm gonna skip this. Then. Well, and then there's environmental understanding, but the problem is it's AR, but it's also MR. Well, what you basically do is scan the environment, like paint it. Just walk around with your phone and you paint it. For example, this table, you paint it, and it creates a mesh where upon you can create like add objects on top of that. It just creates a replication of your room or your object. But the problem is with humans in this case. Sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, but how does it like remembers the angle of the mesh? Like, let's say you scan it with the camera from one angle, then you move, and the angle changes. How does it know?
Well, it does that via optical flow algorithm. It basically, what it does, it tracks every frame, the difference between for example, it has the previous frame and then the next frame, and it tracks from the previous and the next frame the difference, the delta values, and from that you can calculate the movement difference, and with that you can calculate the angle. Well, you don't actually calculate the angle, you calculate the camera matrix. So, and what it does basically, it creates environmental anchors, which, like, for example, you have many anchors here, and you can put objects there, so it fits there, and object positions are updated yeah, you got that. Anchors. So it's there. It just seems that it's there, but the problem is when you have objects that are close to the edges. When there are objects close to the table edges, you can clearly see that there's some error there, because it's all based like. Imagine how ancient people made maps. Basically, you have one city called Riga, and then was one city called Cēsis, one city called Bauska. You know the relative positions, like differences. But then comes another city called closer city like Jurmala, and then you understand that all your relative distances aren't correct, and you have to offset them a bit more. That's how basically environmental mapping works. It's not precise to the centimeter. I would say it has an error about 5 centimeters. For HoloLens, it's about 3. I'm not sure how it's for AR Core and AR Kit, which I'm going to mention later. So, this is your reaction, right? At least mine. I couldn't like. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Next slide. AR frameworks, and then in this case, I'm gonna tell you about frameworks, right? So, AR image recognition frameworks. The first one is the golden standard, which is like working closely with Unity, is Vuforia. And it works well, it's quite easy to use. You just add a child to the marker object and it sort of works, yeah. It's all. And then there's this tracking score, which is taken from, I don't know, this one page. But you can approximate how good is it. Vuforia is, if you have a person that's working with AR, I think it's 80% that it's Vuforia, especially if he's working with Unity, and especially if it's not enterprise. Kuden is the second one, which is cheaper, but it works well. But the problem, you can't really, it's problematic to configure it. But it works well, and it's a lot cheaper. Then there is Easy AR. Basically, it's really close to Vuforia in terms of configuration. It's easy. It's really cheap, but its tracking is way worse than Vuforia's or Kuden's. Then there's Wikitude, which is basically an enterprise variant of. It's popular across enterprises. And then there's open source AR toolkit. Look at the score. And it's really like that because it really works with barcodes, with QR codes. It really works well. But the problem is, their NFC technology, image tracking sucks, just sucks. But their newest version is more promising because they were acquired by a company. Perhaps another Ubuntu case.
Do you know how the score is calculated?
Well, it's calculated via the meters, via the angle, the precision, the jittering. I'm not gonna go in details, but it's a score taken from a website.
That's legit.
That's legit, but I have tried them all several times for several projects, and it's sort of like that. Perhaps I could change the Kuden is bit less, and Wikitude is more about Vuforia. So, yeah, it works like that. These are all paid SDKs except for AR Toolkit, which is open source. Well, you can contribute. So, then the next thing is the holy grail of computer vision called OpenCV. And you can get mad if you mess with it sometimes, but otherwise it's really cool. This is the thing that our photo radars or whatever, you know, the thing which recognizes
What radar?
speed trap. Oh, speed trap. That's open source. Open LCD basically is the thing that they are using to understand the speed of vehicles and the numbers. And it's open source, but it's really, really good. Well, in talking about AR, I have done also this and this. These are two great pictures which I'm going to show. Also one thing, Google self-driving cars are also using this, and these are titles that they are using. Like, well, what happens here is first thing is from a marker, key point grid is extracted. It extracts key points, and it's basically a byte array of orb, brief. Those are you can use them freely. Shift surf, you have to purchase licenses, and basically these are 4 cases which, for example, it tracks key points in the video, and from that you can understand how. For example, are you able to see this thing?
It's like something TC.
Well, in this case you have a marker. In this case you have this marker in the physical world. And it has lines where it finds matches. The problem with OpenCV, you have lots of false positives. And you have to create lots of filters. For example, in this case it's grayscale. And the other case, you need to add thresholding, for example, for colors. You understand that all your cars you're gonna track are greenish or not. But that wasn't an example. That's not what's happening in this case in our speed traps. And then the second thing is called optical flow. This is the term I'm not speaking for the first time here. So it tracks these points, and basically what you do when you move, you have these delta movement values, and from that you can calculate the movement of camera. It's not 100% precise, but it works. Basically, if you want to recognize an image, first you have to extract key points, and then you have to calculate camera delta movements. That's pretty much really technical stuff. Some of people might be bored about this, but some of people might be yay. And you basically have to remember this thing. And also, if you know the game which Elvis made about shooting, Pew Pew, yeah, that's right. It was using OpenCV, and if you use OpenCV, the core library, the API is you have to code in C++. For example, but of course there are lots of wrappers. But the best thing always is to code in C++. So next thing. Yeah, I got your attention. So next thing is what happened in this year. 2 SDKs appeared out of nowhere. Just a joke. Does anyone know Project Tango? Yeah. This is AR arose from Google's Project Tango, and now it's heading for the phones. Currently have a thing called AR Core, which is SDK for Android, and it's supported currently only by Google Pixel phones and Samsung S8. I have Google Nexus, and I'm really pissed that it isn't working for me. At first it said it's gonna support Nexus, but then it's not. But it's gonna work for Nougat and up. It's basically Android 7 and up, which is really great. When it exits preview stage, sorry. And then there are features called motion tracking, which is basically what Pokemon Go uses. You don't have image recognition for this soft. Environmental understanding, you can scan stuff and replicate the environment. and then light estimation, which is really great. For example, there's this video again. Do I need to show video? Well, but basically I can show what happens. You can basically put an object there and walk around. That's yay. But then there's this moment when you have a character from Wizard of Oz. Do you remember the lion? Oh no, sorry. This was one from Madagascar, I guess. Yeah. That. Well, close enough, or not. You have this lion which is like on top of table. I'm again using tables or floors, and the light switches off, and then it catches, like you have callback, and it just, whoa, I'm now afraid. And, well, basically that's what happens. You can have some reactions to light change. That's really great. And then there's the next framework. This is for Android. This is an answer to ARKit, which is basically Apple's AR core, but it's now supported by phone 5S. I'm not sure about operating systems for. I guess it's iOS 11 and up, and light estimation, motion tracking, environmental understanding, the very same things, but facial tracking, which means you can put filters on top of your face and make you spew fire, or like replace your head with a skull, or add some, snapshot stuff, right? You can do that here with this. Yeah, that kind of crap, and you can also do that. Of course, you can extract facial features using OpenCV. Basically, all you see here is, at least part of it is based on OpenCV. So, and theme. But I'm gonna first I can deal with questions, and then I have a picture and a video which represents some. Okay, I'm gonna show you the picture and the video first. No. It's not ended. I haven't finished yet. So, do you know a game called Sudoku?
What?
Sudoku.
What's that?
You down, shut up, sit down.
Leave. Okay, but basically it's a Japanese puzzle game. You can search it you can Google it. Well, in this case, this application is using ARKit. It's basically an AR application. It's a Sudoku solver. First, it tracks grid, the borders of grid. Then it gets the numbers. I'm just going to say it gets the number here, gets the numbers here, and then calculates it solves the puzzle here. The algorithm does that. The thing is that in here you have to understand what numbers are there and where there are empty spaces. And then basically the thing that everyone else can do is create an algorithm to solve that. And then you have an experience. The application displays the solved result. Cool.
So cheating maybe? Cheating.
Yes, it's cheating, but this is one of the applications you can do it. For example, in school, you have this math test. You just scan with your phone, and there's suddenly a wild answer appears, the whole calculation. Then another reason why not to bring phones in math class. So, another thing is, there's this video, what we created, basically an AR ping pong game.
This can I play?
Yeah. Basically, you use 2 markers to play ping pong. It was assembled in 2 days or so, but it used Euphoria for two markers, one for the big bear and one for the panda.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. You could use the shirt as well, I think.
Yeah. The thing is that if you have a bigger marker than where you have put it, like it is just bigger. The experience is scaled relatively to the marker size. So that's how it works. And this is an endeavor by me and Rock Knight Studios. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Nobody of them are here. Basically, I did the coding, and the rest was the visual stuff was done by them. And then now it's Finn. You can ask questions. How much time did that take?
Oh.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope you have some keywords to remember. That's the most essential stuff if you want to want to work with AR. You just have to remember OpenCV, Vuforia, Unity. Okay. Yeah.
In that one slide you had what were they called? The greenish red lines that had like a picture.
Yeah.
Is it like similar to a normal map where it uses RGB to calculate the angles?
Well, the lines colors are not really relevant in this case.
Oh, okay. Then ignore my question.
Okay then. Thank you.
There's no open standard for the colors. Basically, it just shows the
I just saw the colors.
probability.
I just noticed like in normal map it's like RGB for the angles.
No, well, basically, what would happen if you would switch to a different tracking algorithm? You would see either other lines with different colors, or you won't see any lines at all. You just would see key points. It's really based on. Was this helpful?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how it's, but I think how it works is basically I think it's a fixed distance from the camera, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because it's not really like it's not really complex, and back then when they created it wasn't really popular, and then suddenly there's this weird AR thing. Before that, it was like you had AR in universities, laboratories, or in some other small apps. Basically, they were the thing that made that thing huge. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Great.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So about this my shooter game. So let me explain quickly. So it was a red square around the square around the screen, around the level, and what I did, you actually could shoot from this angle. It gets all the corners, it finds the corners, and then it projects the screen onto the camera, and then calculates where the center of the camera is, and that's the point where you are shooting. And that's it, like you just shoot, and I calculate where are you shooting, and actually you could just shoot on any red square, and it could it thought that it would think that it is actually a level. So yeah, that's
basically the same thing as in the old Sega games with the
no, not the same thing. All those games were tracking light, so you were shooting on your screen, and there when you shoot, the screen was going blank, and it had
square.
white square. So you could just shoot at your.
You can't cheat it like
You can't cheat. You can just shoot on any light bulb. It would think that you are shooting on this white square, and it would.
No, but in the video games.
No, in mine, no.
No, high scores.
Yeah. So the September was really crazy as usual,
We had two huge events. The first one was Game On. We had a booth there, and with 9 games, and we were 36 people from the association there, and we were all VIPs and stuff. It was awesome. So this is how our booth looked, and yeah, another angle of the booth. And as you can see, a lot of people were at the event. Unofficial information, it was like more than 5,000, 5,500 or something. And it had lots of games and lots of events, and it had 2 halls, like not halls, but 2 buildings. One building was for presentations, not like the previous year when everything was in one building. This year it was in 2 buildings. So one was for presentations, other one was for esports and exhibition and yeah, stuff like that. So this is like how it looked every day. So lots of people. We also were selected for the Nordic Game Select with my game, the Bear Slayer. Maybe you know it. And yeah, we get to the final 5, and you had to pitch your idea, and you could be selected for the Nordic Game Contest. And another thing was, do you know this guy? I think you don't know him. This is Aurimas, and maybe you know the game that is on his t-shirt. It's Iron Snout. No, maybe somebody knows him. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. And Aurimas, if you are watching this video, like keep it up and make good games. I got to know him 3 years ago in the first Game On, and that is a good example how you can make cool friends that are developing cool games in these kinds of events. So they also presented the Game Awards 2017 during this event. It was really awesome, and we have a lot to learn from them, and I hope that our Game Awards will be as good as theirs. So the next one was a VIP zone in the party. So it was a live music. They were playing music from different games, and we had a VIP zone with free beer and everything, and we could just watch it from above. This was me in the fan zone. As you can see, there's something wrong with it. You could do some like fun stuff in the exhibition, like make pictures like this, or you could buy some swag. And this is how the VIP zone looked, where some of our guys were hanging like for the whole 2 days. It had free booze and free food, so yeah, I guess thanks to our association, they ran out of the beer, and that's true story. So the next event was Game Camps. That's a huge event, and let me tell you why it's so awesome and why it's something cool for Latvia. So the first thing, the event had members from 4 countries, as I already told, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and Latvia. And it had pretty cool mentors. This is Julia. She organizes Casual Connect, and you could just go to her and ask questions, and she would tell you how you should make the game so that it wins in competitions and looks good in exhibitions. This is Alex. He's running Tiny Build. He has sold like more than 5 games that has sold 1 million and more copies, but he has sold like I don't know, 30 or maybe more games, and none of them sold less than like 300,000 copies. So he's really awesome dude, and he's like a walking book about games. You can just show him his game, and he will like in a second he will tell you 5 games that are similar to yours, and he will explain why they sold bad or sold good and how much they sold. So this is Vesa. He's the member of the board of IGDA. It's International Game Developers Association, and there are only 16 members in the board, and he's the only one that is not from USA. Anton, he's also a cool guy. He had helped some indie games that sold well, like Cluster Truck, maybe you know. This is a pretty popular indie game. This is a really cool guy. I will not tell much about him. And other guys, they are also, he's running Tartu Science Park. I guess you know Tartu Science Park. He's also a pretty cool game developer, and he has Nitro games. I guess somebody maybe has heard about this studio. And this is Juris, and he's from Latvia. He was the only one that is not connected to game development, but he was mentoring the business part, because the aim of the game camps is to get new companies founded. So he was mentoring how to do it. And this is basically how the event was going on. Lots of energy drinks.
That's not beer, by the way. That's totally not beer.
So before the event, we had a pre-party here. I will not show pictures from it because it was just a lot of booze. And this is the development process. There were 2 rooms and there were 19 teams. 3 of them were just jamming. Like, you can just come and jam and just eat for free and drink energy drinks for free and just make games, or you can participate. To participate, you had to have a team from at least 2 countries. So 16 of the teams were actually making games. And the Vladimir from the association, he and his team, they won the main prize. So the second game camps and the second time the team where Latvians are won. And the previous time also a member of the association won. Yay! Yay! So again, this picture, this is becoming a tradition in all of our jams and contests. So that's, thank you for 2 presentations, and then we'll move on to other fun stuff. Maybe you have any questions about Game On or Game Camps? How do you build ask Eric.
You don't!
The wall builds you.
Yes?
In your opinion, what's the gain from participating in Game On for a game developer? What's the gain?
Actually, the main gain is, like, for me, I got to know new game developers from other countries, from Lithuania especially, and we should have ties with them. And the other is you get your game tested by hundreds of people, like they're coming to your game and play it, and you see how they use it. Maybe a little bit attention, but I wouldn't count on the attention, because this is a small event and everybody will forget about your game like 5 minutes after playing it. So the main thing is, like, what you take from the event is that you have testers and contacts. And there are actually cool guys, like, for example, from Wargaming from Belarus. They were really actively searching for games to invest in. So if they like you, they will give you money. There are also people from Blizzard and other companies, but you actually had to find them or set up a meeting before the event. I didn't do that, but I suggest doing that. Yes?
I have 2 questions. One question out of curiosity. Is Lithuania not participating in Game Camp? Why? It's a Baltic country.
Yeah, it's not a Baltic Sea region, so yeah.
Okay. And the second question is, if you have a game that you have already developed for some time before the Game Camp, can it still participate?
Yes.
But
If it's not like already publicly announced and stuff. Yes.
At all.
Can I continue working on the same game I did on game camps on next game camps?
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's move on. We have some new members. So the member number 54 is Arman Soinas. He is winner of BRSD contest, and member number 55 is Vitalis Sachivko. They both are from DG Nana, and they are now going to Casual Connect, so applause to them. So member number 56 is Tom Samsons. Applause. So he's not here. Oh, those are guys from Almere, they will not be here. Member number 57, Davis Abos. Member number 58, Edward Skritskis. Member number 59, Ekaterina Alejnika. So she's here. Do you think we hit the 60?
Yes.
No, you're wrong. So you have a chance to apply and be member number 60, but do it quickly. So the next meetup is November 8th, and I hope we'll have some cool speakers from other countries. I am pretty sure that we'll get the developer of this War of Mine from Poland on December, and there are some guys that could come on November. Let's see. And the last thing.
Okay, let's go.
So this time we have one beer for the easy, really easy question, and 2 beers for the really I hope it's really hard question. So be quick, because this is 1 beer and this will be like, I hope it will be maybe under a second. Let's see. So 3, 2, 1.
Donkey Kong!
You are the first one. So it's
He's the judge! He's the judge!
yeah, he was like Donkey Kong and then you started. Okay, this was the easy one. So now 2 beers. 2 beers. One guy will get 2 beers. So okay, 3, 2, 1.
What?
Candy Crush.
Oh,
Candy Crush.
no,
Follow.
no.
Sims.
Think a bit deeper.
Grand Theft Auto.
No.
Cat Tulip.
Nope. This is a popular game.
Is it new one?
This is like
Kind
a
of.
2D game.
Nope. Kind of. Maybe. Nope.
Kind of, maybe no.
Try to understand what's in the first picture. Not the cat, something else. Or maybe what's in the second.
Oh, shit. That's mine.
Cat Girl Spaceship.
No. Not. I said it's not cat. It's something else. Everybody knows the game. Come on. So what is this?
Tulips.
Flowers, tulips, paper, blossoms. Plants have zombie.
No.
Flowers versus cat.
So who owns the pizza?
Cat.
No. Like yes, it's a cat, but somehow differently. Think. Whose is it? Whose the pizza? You're close.
Minecraft?
Yes, Minecraft. It's mine. It's crafting. Yes, Minecraft. You got it. So thanks for coming to GameDev meetup, and see you in the next one. And let's wave bye to all the streamers. Bye.